All right.
All right, man. We got Alabama taking on Georgia today, SEC championship. Got some UFC plays. Appreciate you guys watching live with us from the First Logistics Beach House in Melbourne. I'm pretty pumped up. What are you guys looking forward to in this matchup between Alabama and Georgia?
I'm watching Brock Bowers 100% of the time and not taking my eyes off him. No, there are some offensive linemen I will be watching, and Georgia's always got some defenders to watch out for. But Bowers completely, honestly, and then from a Bengals perspective, right? If they're picking top 12, that's right in the range of a Brock Bowers, and I want to see if he is that dude because the profile analytically looks strong.
Oh, yeah. No, one of my favorite we all like scouting season and draft season quite a bit. And one of my favorite things from Peter Burns was talking about a comp for Brock Bowers is he's a toddler. You can't leave him alone in public, and you have to have two people around him at all times and never take your eyes off him. So I really love that. Definitely looking at him, looking at which team can really generate the pass rush. Two quarterbacks that are both tied since week 4 with a 93.1 PFF grade when kept clean. So I really feel like whoever is able to get pressure on the other team's quarterback is going to be able to dial back a lot of what they are able to do on offense. And I think that's going to be a big game changer.
I'm looking forward to the basketball two-handed shovel pass halftime show brought to you by Sprite.
Another double overtime thriller. Yeah, hopefully.
Guessing on Sprite. It's never Sprite. It's always Dr. Pepper.
Oh man, no, I'm definitely ready for this to kick off.
Aside from all that stuff, I'm looking for Alabama to win. That's it.
If anything, if you like chaos and you're not a fan of any of these teams, I feel like Alabama is the team to root for simply because it's going to create such a chaotic conversation and atmosphere around the college football playoff, where if they lose and Florida State wins, I feel like it's pretty cut and dry with who gets in.
If you guys don't know, Malik likes Alabama. How? Why? I can't tell you that.
Actually, Malik, what's the story behind you becoming an Alabama fan?
Man, what team would I have picked? Rutgers? Like Rutgers was trash growing up for me, so I never really got behind them too much. And remember the first team I watched like on a national scale was Alabama. It was the Alabama versus Auburn game, Iron Bowl, and I just appreciated Alabama. I loved them, and then obviously I became a huge AJ McCarron fan. Funny enough, he is back with the Bengals. He was drafted by the Bengals. But yeah, I was a huge Alabama fan, Crimson Tide fan growing up. Got a lot of heat for it. I'm not gonna lie. I probably was a little bit of a
easy to take shots at the top.
It's easy to take shots when you're looking up, I guess. But yeah, been a big Alabama Crimson Tide fan, and I would say I've been spoiled for the most part, right, throughout my life. Seeing us win a couple national championships, I can't be like some of these other teams out there that are crying about sign stealing and stuff like that. But hey man, I appreciate it. I'm just excited.
Glenn and our father is a Georgia Bulldogs fan.
Really?
Yeah, he'll probably be texting me throughout the game.
Oh man.
So is your loyalty a little bit with Georgia?
I've got a Georgia hoodie in my closet.
Okay.
So.
There we go.
It's gonna stay there.
I don't have a loyalty. People ask me this all the time because I watch a lot of college after the season, and I never. You growing up in the Northeast, we don't watch college football like that. I don't know if that's true for you guys in the New Jersey area. So it kind of just goes by without us really caring or really putting too much thought into it other than the draft. And
that was one thing. I know the whole SEC, it just means more thing is a little bit, well, a lot of it blown out of proportion, right? But when you think about it, like Alabama is the only professional sports team until you get 3 hours away to Atlanta or 5 hours away to New Orleans. So there's really a region of the country where college football is all they have to rally around, and like the fervent fan nature of a lot of those people down there. Malik talked about watching the Iron Bowl, and that made him a fan. And that's something that I've seen in person that I can attest to. And honestly, like one of the craziest atmospheres that I ever had the pleasure of going and witnessing when I was down there attending school there was when Mississippi State with Dak Prescott was ranked number 1, because Starkville is only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away fromTuscaloosa, where Alabama is. So that was just. School? I went to Alabama.
Oh, well,
yeah. Never heard that before, right? Hey, yeah. But no, so it was really cool, man. The environment there's definitely. I know Michigan, Ohio State obviously gets really crazy. But the in-between games can kind of get glossed over sometimes. But I feel like a lot of those in-between games matter more for either long-standing rivalries, or there's just a lot more competition between any of these SEC teams and the level of athletes they have versus like Ohio State and Iowa or Minnesota.
I got a question for you guys, getting off topic a little bit from football. We've been here for a little bit now at the First Star Logistics Beach House.
Crazy.
Let's talk to us about it for a second. What's your favorite part of it so far?
Oh goodness, I love the rooftop balcony, man. Like that's a swanky little place. You could make that a rooftop bar, have some nice little parties up there. Great view of the beach, lots of beautiful lights and everything. I love it up there.
I'm ready to have some coffee in the morning on that balcony and do some putt. So you guys will catch me out. But you'll catch Glenn out there at 5 a.m.
I'm an early riser.
I'll tell you what I love about it, man, is the fact that we're sitting here watching football, watching UFC, and you just hear the waves continue to crash.
Oh yeah,
crashing.
The breeze, you feel it too.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. Now, if you know anything about me, so Daniel and I obviously live together. He could tell you I like the AC blasting in the house. That's just me personally. I like the cool air, but being here, you don't need that. You don't need that. You got the natural breeze coming in. You know what I mean?
You can feel like the salt humidity though, or your hands. Like
Mhm.
I'm grippy right now. I can catch a ball one-handed.
I don't know about that, but you can
No,
try.
I can.
Oh yeah.
I didn't say you could. I said
he doesn't have the Joe Burrow hands.
I do actually. They're 9 inches.
You're
Yeah.
exactly the same as Joe Burrow. That's funny. Oh man, yeah, you just can't breathe having this door wide open. A lot of Cliff Kingsbury vibes, over here. We can get a little nice picture. You got all the black. We got the white table, the white couch. We're halfway there already, man. Like,
do we have a picture? We should post one up on the socials.
we should be able to get you one. We'll get you one tomorrow. Yeah, for
NFL.
NFL Sunday when you're prepping and doing your work. Yeah, we'll get you set up in the little Cliff Kingsbury action. Put the side by side.
Now, on over to the UFC right now, we've got an opening fight. Veronica Hardy, the wife of Dan Hardy, is fighting. I feel like she was a little disrespected, honestly, by Lines. She's a girl that she just recently returned to the UFC not too while ago. As you guys know, we're watching the SC Championship, but we're also watching the UFC. And, I think this is a spot where she could win. The girl she's fighting Horth isn't really that proven. And I feel like Veronica Hardy could actually pull this one out. I'm not going to actually make a pick her, so do not put your money on what I'm saying right now about Veronica Hardy. But I do think this is the fight she could win. And, I just think experience might win this fight. And if we're talking about experience, give it to Veronica Hardy.
Glenn's a big fan of women's fighting.
Really?
Yeah, he likes the idea of being dominated.
Yeah, I definitely know. I don't know who either one of these ladies are, but I know they will kill me.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, no, I have that self-respect of being like, hey, I can admit that you'd probably kick my ass all over the place.
No doubt.
WNBA and college players would be able to
She
kick
dropped her,
my
didn't
ass
she?
Too.
She dropped her. Veronica Hardy already dropped her with a shot. But we got a question in the comment section. Alabama or Georgia, what's your prediction? I will not say what my prediction is because
you're going to predict with your heart, right?
I refuse to, right? And I at the end of the day, like this is a spot where I feel like Georgia's had our number for a little bit. I'm in an evaluation mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a spot for me where I'm just looking at potential talent that the Bengals could potentially pick up, obviously.
Yep.
So I'm looking at Brocky B. Looking at a couple of offensive linemen as well. So I guess I'm just looking at it from a different lens here. But 100% my heart, I want Alabama to win. But at the end of the day, I'm show me. You got to show me that you can win, right? And Georgia certainly has had our number for a little bit here. So I can't say I'm the most confident in picking Alabama. You know what's crazy? Evan is usually the most pessimistic fan out of us.
I am.
He was like,
Alabama.
I'm gonna do a little impersonation. He's like, Malik, listen, I think we might have big Alabama here. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if we can do it, but who knows, man? Maybe Alabama Crimson Tide can pull this one out.
I can obviously see that Georgia clearly looks like the better team, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in this game. But so when Georgia's got the ball, I'm watching Bowers. When Alabama's got the ball, right tackle J.C. Latham, 65, I want to say. Power, right tackle. That's because he's big. I don't know how athletic he'll be. We'll have to get to that point when we get there. But Bengals could be looking for a right tackle. So it gives you something to watch. So, yeah,
that's one of the questions we just got, actually, before we get to Evan and Glenn's predictions. They said, if Bowers, J.C. Latham, and Dallas Turner were all on the board, who would you pick? First and foremost, for me, anybody that knows me, I'm a big Dallas Turner guy. I like his bend personally.
You see that?
Yeah, that's insane.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, if anyone's like, why did he keep 1 foot in? Because if you put 1 foot out and touch the ball, so say even if that ball was landing inside, you can put 1 foot out of bounds and touch the ball that's inbounds, and it's considered out of bounds. Smart.
That is interesting. That is
a heads up play.
Yep.
So Malik kind of referenced it earlier. I try to be as objective and realistic as possible, and it borderlines on pessimism sometimes. But looking at the data, looking at some of the stuff we got here, Jalen Milroe is top 3 in yards per attempt and average depth of target, but is also top 10 in completion percentage, which is a wild combination. Been great in big time throw rate, is tied for 10th in turnover worthy play percentage. So he's been taking care of the ball pretty well. And the more I look at it, the more I'm like, the pass rushes.
Misjudged it. Sorry.
No, you're good. The pass rush is going to determine a lot of this game, and there's not a Jalen Carter or a Nolan Smith for Georgia, so it's going to rely a lot on Jalen Milroe not letting these pressures turn into sacks. He's got the 6th highest pressure to sack ratio. I'm thinking that's going to be the difference of the game, and Georgia has struggled this season even to really dominate and beat teams like they should who are dual threat quarterbacks, which of course Jalen Milroe is one of the best at it. So I think that's going to be enough to really push Georgia to the brink, and I feel like you said, with Dallas Turner, with guys like Jermaine Burton, Isaiah Bond making plays. We know the secondary is absolutely stacked with Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. I just feel like all of that will give Bama a real legitimate chance that they're not getting right now, because as good as Georgia has been.
You knew the motion was coming, the linebacker there. Let's watch the right tackle here on 3rd and 7. We get a true pass set possibly. Good job. He's not even rushing. He's trying to keep the quarterback in. Got him too. It worked.
And on the UFC side for a second, that's why you guys heard me say ooh for a second. This girl Veronica Hardy has dropped this girl 3 times in the first round, so that could be like we could be looking at a 10-8. And she came in as an underdog, a big underdog at that. So
for evaluation purposes, we're watching 65 here. You see that end is clearly trying to keep quarterback from rolling out to the right. So you have to evaluate that. Yes, you could say, oh, he won there, but look, he's grabbing with his hands as the guy's trying to change directions. He had poor hands on the first play, also that play action where he had the linebacker, it looked like 32, and he ended up wrapping his hands around that guy. So first drive, so we're not making concrete evaluations, but just
correct.
As you mentioned tackles, I'm looking hard at Caden Proctor, for Alabama on that offensive line. He's allowed 10 of their 25 sacks and has a 43.1 tackle and 40.1 pass blocking grade on true pass sets. So if there's going to be any way that Georgia defense can really get to Jalen Milroe and make him uncomfortable, that's probably going to be it. And I like what they did there. Like you said, containing the quarterback, trying to make Milroe read it out, which, as Malik can attest, while I was doubting Alabama as a legitimate playoff contender the whole year, it was because I said, hey, it's these deep shots and these runs. And if you can contain him and keep the top on the defense, it's going to be really hard for Bama to just methodically get you down the field without that big explosive play that they hunt for.
We got Bowers off to the right. 19, he's split back a little bit as the wing. And he's going out. Quick
Rocky B.
Let's see the yards after catch. Tight end's a sneaky position for Yak.
Look at that.
High motor play there by a high motor guy. You know?
Just really brings his lunch pail to the championship game. Is ready to rock. Yeah,
that was
full of grit.
Sneaky athleticism.
Come on. Already we can't even get through one play. But
just
no.
got to get all the cliches out of the way right now.
He is an athlete, though, for real. And he's only 20 years old. December, I want to say he turns 21.
Now here's a guy that was able to turn up the field, right?
He's in the same spot again if you're looking for him. Not that you have to
hunt too hard for him.
No, they're holding him like
they're
crazy
holding him.
too.
As soon as he came up the line of scrimmage, they're holding him. But that's another thing that he does, man. You know, you have to be mindful of what Brock Bowers does all the time, that he just opens things up for everybody on the offense. But you know who could eat? It's like a running back. You check down to running back on a consistent basis because you're worried about Brock. Look, he's getting held all the way down the field here.
Evan, do you know they've got like a gadget guy on Georgia, right? A running back.
Milton, is that right?
Is it Milton? I saw a game a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Who's this dude?"
Yeah, so they've got Dajon Edwards. He's got they kind of split the work a little bit, but easily just looking at the data, Edwards has been more of the plotting, very average back, and is 60th, 40th, 70th, 60th in a lot of the key metrics. But Kendall Milton, 89.1 rushing grade, 28th out of 200 running backs this season, 16th in yards per attempt with 6.5, and 21st in yards after contact per attempt. So Kendall Milton, definitely the more explosive of the bunch. And as an Alabama observer and fan in my own right, that's definitely someone that I'm looking for.
In the slot, blocking on the screen there.
Love the versatility that you get from him. I know Bengals fans that may be watching this stream are looking for a lot more of that from the tight end room, where you don't have such defined tells for what personnel
like you have. You can be in heavy in the huddle. And
well, you saw it first time. He's attached to the line, comes right out, gets the short pass, takes it up. But you probably think, hey, this guy's on the line of scrimmage looking to block. Like, it doesn't have that the same way when you line up in the gun and you have generally most of your runs are going to go one way unless you line up the tight end on the other, then that really is a tell for the defense and not always an answer, but gives them a really good clue of what you might be hunting for.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I do want to give credit to Georgia's defense. I know I said that the pass rush is not quite there as much as we expect in recent years, but that secondary is still really great. Malachi Starks and Tyke Smith, both top 20 in average depth of tackle.
Bringing them over
for
again.
Safeties flying up to the line of scrimmage does not make it easy to try and chip away at this Georgia defense.
They weren't letting Bowers get out to flats that time, unlike the first play. So they went to basically you get 2 reads on that side as the quarterback boots out. He's going to look for the short guy quick. If not, then you should have either an out route or a crossing route coming, and he sees it right at the sideline. And
between Terry and Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Caleb Downs, and the secondary for Alabama, you should have the pieces to where you can really focus a lot more on trying to contain Brock Bowers in the box. It's a lot more going to him and Dominic Lovett, who's their slot receiver. I think over 120 of their targets have gone to those 2 guys for this season between Brock Bowers and Lovett. So looking a lot to try and limit what they do at the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. And I would personally try and let my talented corners and safeties take care of the back end for me.
If you guys could do us a huge favor as well, give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Reminder, every single week the Bengals play a game, First Star Logistics will be doing a unique giveaway of some sort. George just got on the board. This week's giveaway is going to be a grill. It's an outdoor grill. We've been doing a great job of getting you guys man caves all set up and stuff like that. But if you want an opportunity to win the custom grill, all you have to do is head on over to First Star Logistics Twitter and look at their pinned tweet. But yeah, if you guys do us a favor, give this video a like and subscribe to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel.
I've got that Blackstone grill.
Really?
It's awesome.
Really?
It is really awesome. You got to season it and do all that. But afterwards, I mean, I like sauteing the peppers and the onions for the Italian sausage. That's a great way to do it right on there. And just keep chopping and keep letting it grill.
Smash burgers.
Good. Oh, yes. Right.
Man. But yeah, Georgia drew first blood, man.
Bowers wasn't out there, by the way, on that one.
Yeah.
But Milton, yeah, you definitely see the different
you can
burst from him.
Right. It's very much I can't say that I've paid very close attention to what Dyson Edwards has done this season, but
he looks quicker.
Yeah, it's just as soon as you look at the data for it, it just jumps out at you. I mean, Milton is just head and shoulders above him in almost every key metric. So it makes me wonder why they haven't kind of gone more away from that 50-50 workload. Maybe they like that kind of committee approach like you were talking about earlier off camera with the advantages that it offers the running back room in the offense by having different dynamic skill sets in those running backs. So maybe that's what they've done a little bit more to try and take advantage of some teams that way.
We also want to answer your questions, so feel free to drop your questions down below in the comment section. We've got a question right now from one of our viewers, John. He says, would the Bengals even draft Brock Bowers? Right? It doesn't seem like they value the position. Joe, you can answer that.
I think we're going to say the same thing.
I think
maybe.
They
value the position. They value it incorrectly the last 2 drafts.
Yes.
It's going to take an adjustment from them. And what I mean by that is, say you like Evan McPhillips, right? And I think Evan McPhillips can be a very good tight end in this league.
I think he'd be average.
Sure. However you value him, evaluate him. Okay. If I say, I think he's going to go in the 3rd round. If he's there in the 3rd round, we're going to take Evan McPhillips. And then he gets taken in the 2nd round. Does that mean I didn't like Evan McPhillips or I didn't value him? Or does it mean I didn't value him correctly? And that other teams around the league are drafting these guys before the Bengals thought they would go. And so I think they would have taken a tight end in a few rounds the last couple years. And it hasn't happened because they keep going a little bit earlier than expected.
I think that's a great conversation about the difference in evaluation versus valuation, right? Because that's something that can kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes where
their evals have been good. From what I understand, their evals on who they think are going to be the good tight ends are correct. They just haven't valued them correctly.
Well, it's like quarterback, right? A lot of people will come out and say, I only have 2 quarterbacks for the 1st round grade, but then we see 3 or 4 or 5 go in the 1st round, and that's because that value of that position bumps things up a little bit. Like we know the Bengals valued Sam Laporta. We don't think they valued him at the top of the 2nd round like other teams did. And that's part of the game, right? And that's where it comes in. I don't mean to harp on like the Drew Sample pick, but even if you like the guy, it's important to understand also the valuation.
So that's the I guess we could debate that, right? That's overvaluing Drew
Mhm.
Sample. And there's only way you get to that point is if you have an incorrect evaluation, right? They thought he could be something more
Overconfidence
than
in your
what
own
he
scouting
showed.
report.
Yep. And I think they don't want to do that again. I think that might shell shock you a little bit. So then they have fallen back on where they should be, and now they're going to have to adjust.
To answer the original question, though, I do think Brock Bowers is a bit of an exception because he is such a clean, elite prospect that really the question marks, I mean, you might say, oh, maybe injury, but I don't have any durability concerns for him. He's played through a lot. Like,
In the toughest conference.
right.
Yeah.
That's the thing when
and
people were
performed
talking
at a high
about
level.
Jamar Chase. Oh, we don't know if he can play. I'm like, guys, he was 18 years old beating up on NFL corners. I don't know how else to tell you.
And that's
The
why
guy
I brought
can play
up
ball.
the age for Bowers. He's 20 right now. That means
Right.
everything you have seen up until this point has been at 18, 19, 20. If he's dominating in the SEC at that age,
Well, just related to your own experience, you know, everybody played probably high school sports at one point or another. When you were a senior and you've been playing for 4 years, and then suddenly you just run a scrimmage against a guy who just got there on the freshman team, there's a difference in your physical skills and how you've built your body up, how you developed. These guys are all, like you said, 18. We remember Anthony Davis committed to play college ball and then grew another 8 inches. These guys are still growing into their bodies, putting on muscle mass, developing athletically. Like, there's a lot going on with that too. So it is important to be able to dominate older players who have more skill and more just time in the game. That says a lot about you and your quality as a prospect.
they are not rushing
No.
the quarterback here. The good block in the power situation on the first run by Latham. But then again, here you're going to watch if they show the replay. The right tackle, he's basically going against a guy who's going to be a D tackle at the next level, and even probably is for Georgia. Georgia a lot of times will only rush 3, and that's why their sack production when these prospects usually come out and there's nothing there for them. It makes it a very unknown. Vontae Wyatt, guys like that, you know, that we wonder can he be that? They're clearly
very
not.
much projecting the traits
They're
based off
trying to, right, and they're in such a rotation that right now they're not giving him much of a challenge. But we do have a guy that looks much more athletic rushing. Going inside, got him. Hit him with the outside step and then inside swim. So hopefully we'll get a replay on that. Latham over lunges, head too far in front, weight too far in front, and he got beat there. Let's see if we can get right tackle here. So watch right tackle. Yep, they're going to show it. They're highlighting it right now. Watch him lunge. Whoop. Oh, if that guard didn't come in and help because you're only rushing, you're sending a loop around that side.
it's a danger of getting off balance.
I don't like this start for Alabama.
No, it's definitely not the ideal start for if you were trying to keep this within one score. And that's the thing is we've seen Georgia. It looks like they definitely have a plan for how they're going to attack Milroe. Haven't been super aggressive except in key spots, challenging him to read out the defense. I think that's the way you counter Jalen Milroe. We've talked about it throughout the season as Alabama started to straighten things out and kind of figure things out once they committed to Milroe week 4 and kind of developed their offensive identity. But this was the problem, right? As always, it was as soon as you ask Milroe to read out more than his first or second read, when he can't just become a runner, doesn't have those open lanes, what's he going to do? Is he going to be able to respond? And I feel like so far the answer is no to that.
I got a question from Twitter from when we put the link up for the stream. It's from David Cronenberger. Just so we're clear, if Bowers is there, wherever we end up picking, he has to be the pick, right? I know we need help on both lines, but can we all agree that Bowers can't be passed over? I wouldn't go that far just yet. I think a premium tackle is worth more than a premium tight end. So if there's a tackle that you love there, I'm going tackle every time.
Right.
That's fair.
Or like a premium edge too, potentially.
Sure.
I think you're
Or D tackle.
Yeah.
Who's the guy from Illinois? Am I right on that? Does anybody know his name? Newton.
Yeah, it's like Jay. I forgot it. It's a hard name to
I was
pronounce.
going to say, I don't know if I feel comfortable judging anybody other
Only
than
seen clips. So I've
right.
just what people are said top 15 for him, and I'm like, oh, there's a top 15 D tackle that can rush the passer.
You've piqued my
Right.
interest.
I'm sitting
Yeah,
up, so.
right. I can't tell you how many times in like this year and last year that I was just sitting there just like doing the Wolverine meme over Geno Atkins. Just like, oh man, if I had
just
you
miss
on
him.
the team right now, like, wouldn't that be so great?
Well, I'm
Like,
watching Ed Oliver for Buffalo too, and
Oh,
finally
man.
hit his.
He's come along
where he's
so well,
supposed
man.
to be. Yeah,
Mhm.
because remember they didn't let him rush the passer either, though in Houston.
Right.
They played him at nose and a 3-man front, and then they're like, yeah, be an athlete on third down. Well, that's why he was so far. Like people were like, he could be Donald. Well, it's hard to beat Donald if you're not that technical. Aaron Donald while being the freakiest dude in the league and the strongest dude in the league pound for pound.
Everybody's seen his knife fighting videos.
He's
His
also
handwork is
technically
incredible.
insane. Right.
Right.
And then now Ed Oliver's finally reaching that point. What are you guys watching?
I'm looking out my left. Somebody's out there paddleboarding right there. He's braver than me. I won't even touch the water. I'm good.
And it's choppy out there today.
It is. No, those
He's
waves
out
are
there.
intense.
You
I'm
can
not
see him.
lying.
You can see. We got
the view out there.
We got the view. We got the
Yeah.
camera.
Look,
No,
he's
I
hitting
don't-
the wave. Look,
Man,
Don't you need to go out there and like be there for scale? Like
Does he know
those
he's-
waves are coming up waist chest high.
Yeah,
They're not low.
No.
He has no idea millions of people are watching him right now.
Literally millions and millions of the First Star Logistic fans. Man, he's being watched, and
You're
he's
right,
having the time of his
I'm
life.
gonna be okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bauer's back out to the right.
Looks like they got Milton in there. I think they keep feeding
Okay.
him. He's
Again,
doing
they're going to
something.
him. There's no room there. Bringing him across the formation this time. Are you guys defensive minded or offensive minded? When I say he's to the right, does that clear it up for you?
I always see it from the perspective of the offense.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that was I coached kids for the first time this year,
Mhm.
and I had to get off of that a lot of times because I was coaching D line, and I'd be like, strong right, and I'd be like,
You call it
it's
boundary
for
and
them.
field.
I
And
need
try
to
and,
right. That'd be the
right.
only way to really get my mind from stop saying right and left.
It's tough, yeah, from that perspective, and it's hard enough for me trying to right and left and invert stuff. I can't imagine, being 8, 9, 10 years old trying to learn football, 12 years old, and like learn the finer aspects of that, and you keep saying
You got him
left,
again.
right, and trying to be like, I got to flip it.
He's running a
There's
wheel
that
route
pressure.
that time.
Oh, you got to get there, man.
And that's actually one of the other aspects is though Jalen Milroe is the 6th highest pressure to sack rate, Carson Beck is actually 54 out of 88 quarterbacks. So he's actually one of the better quarterbacks at avoiding
Nope, dropped it.
that
He dropped
pressure,
that, you think?
turning
He
it
dropped
into
it.
a sack. Let's see if that ground helped him.
Yeah,
Yep, that
no, that
ground
was
helped
not
him
a
out a
catch.
little bit.
That wasn't even a catch. It hit the ground.
I knew it the whole time.
sneaky speed coming back there though for that ball.
I think what really hurts
We
Georgia
got the
too
Newton
is
defensive line, Illinois. Thank you, Ken.
thank you for chipping in. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. I think the injuries for the boundary receivers as well for Georgia is going to play into this game a little bit.
What's that? Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Glenn, you going to fight him? You going to accuse him of being in lifts or heels or anything like
He's
that?
always been about 2 inches bigger.
Oh, man. What
Longer.
about taller, though?
Right.
Oh!
Is that Bowers up the seam here?
I'm having a
It
little
is.
whiskey, guys. We're having a good time. It's
Ah.
all fine.
Hey, he was covered up right there. That's actually a bad throw, but he's also is covered here.
I feel like Alabama's.
That's a pass interference for me, though, too.
I feel like with having a more down year that they maybe haven't gotten as much respect on some of the first round, second round talent in their secondary, but they do have one of those good secondaries like they
I
always
mean, they're
do,
always
man.
coached well back there, too.
They really are, man. Like that's why people love
up
going
the
to
middle.
Saban defensive backs. He gets involved with them and just coaches them so hard. They're always so well disciplined, very smart.
Of something to note, Bowers has a play QB rest sleeve on
Yeah.
right now.
That's unique. You never see a tight end really wearing
You
them.
don't. They must. It's probably because of all the formations and different ways they use them.
I want,
I want that. I want that for me.
Right. I would imagine if a player, a tight end, did wear that in the league, it probably would be Travis Kelce. Considering how much the Chiefs use him, and
Travis
how,
just feels.
how much of a
He's just like, there's some space. I'm just
weapon
going
he
to
is
hang out
for,
right
for
there.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's involved with almost everything that they do.
Man, I watch those Chargers and Chiefs games these days right now and see all these drops, man, and it hurts me.
The thighs over here, shit.
Got to show
Sorry,
off. You got to get a little more
Sorry,
a little
kids.
more creative design like Glenn does over here, man. Like he's a very pretty human to look at. Look at all this art on him, you know. Like
Yeah, I don't have muscles, so I'm coloring it in.
decorate yourself somehow. It's fine. Yeah.
So, Glenn, I got to ask you, man. You're from Buffalo, but you're in Florida, right? How does that make you feel right now, or do you love it?
What's the weather like up there? Is it bad? Is it getting bad? It just got to like 20 and 18 in Cincinnati the other day.
Yeah,
and I woke
right.
up and I wanted to
It was
die.
snowing and all
Cold
that stuff.
wise, right? We're already getting some snow up there.
Oh man.
What was it? 26.
See, that's the
Thursday?
cold where it hurts to go outside. Like 30 and 40, it's like I can get by this.
Listen, it was 40 and raining Friday. So
Oh, that's the worst.
right. Give me 26 all day
It
long.
was
No,
40 and
cold
raining when
rain,
we got
yeah.
on the plane this
Yeah.
morning.
It was.
Man, well, hey, nice to step off the plane into this wonderful weather, into this beautiful beach house
Man.
with this wonderful view, isn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
Something I
me-
kept saying to Joe, you can smell that Florida air. When
Yeah.
you get off the plane, you're in the airport, it just smells different.
Also, I was born in Florida. We lived in Florida for a little bit when I was
Really?
baby.
Oh, really?
Wow, we need to start a show. Things to learn about Joe.
Just little fun facts.
They don't know a lot about me.
Really?
You don't know Joe.
All right. Do you want to know Joe? That's the real
Do
question.
you want to?
Do you want to know Joe? That's
Ask
the real
anything.
question.
Honestly, I'll answer anything.
I was going to say, I see him. One of my favorite pieces that you ever did. Halo has a very special part into me in my formative youth.
My man.
So to see like what you did with that needler, that's still one of my favorite
yeah.
pieces that you've
Repainted
ever
the
done, man.
needler.
That was beautiful.
I don't know if you watched if you guys seen this at all today, but the Fallout show trailer.
No.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
They just released that, the GTA 6 trailer.
That's coming, but the Halo season 2 trailer, which season 1 was not good on Paramount, if you've seen that at all. But the season 2 trailer, I was like, oh, they may have learned something.
I saw some clips from season 1 where there was some, let's call them animation mistakes.
There was a lot of weird decisions for that.
Right. All right, Alabama coming back here. Let's see what they got planned.
Yeah, let
Okay.
Latham be a power man. That's what he did there. Set the edge, allowed him to get upfield. Definitely a power right tackle. So far, I mean, I don't want to make concrete evaluations here. It's still early.
Yeah.
I'm just being introduced to him now. Watch him set that, torque his body, get his weight into the number 97 there, seal him off.
Honestly, they're going to have to keep trying to find ways to get Jalen Milroe involved in that run game other than just scrambling, especially if they're not going to be putting that pressure there, dropping into coverage, trying to clog those lanes up. Georgia's defense, 113th versus quarterbacks in the run this season. Every time that they've played a dual quarterback, the score's been difference has been less than 10. All the tools are there for Alabama to keep this close and potentially win, but it's going to be up to them to execute and get that done.
And for those that are following along, and you guys know I gave my UFC picks, prior. The underdog lady that I said was going to win, Veronica Hardy, she won. So
Okay.
that was a good start to the card. Very good start to the card.
When Malik tells you to take fight bets, you do it. You just don't ask questions. You go, yep, you got it.
What do we got now, Malik? Because this guy looks pretty scary.
I think Wellington Turman's going to beat him. This guy has his chin up in the air quite often. He gasses out after the first 2 minutes in a fight. He hits hard, but if you're able to take him down, he doesn't offer up any resistance. Wellington Turman is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. He's absolutely filthy on the ground. He was horrible when he first started his UFC career, but he started to string together some wins. Jared Gooden is a guy that got cut from the UFC. He's pretty much a journeyman, but we'll see. It's a very close, interesting fight. Wellington Turman is my
Milroe finding some way to just turn a negative into a positive there and just reverses the field of play, gets a nice scramble in there. I'll tell you what, man, I was kind of disappointed by Chase McClellan this season, and I don't want to be unfair to him. It's just when you look at the long line of running backs that have been at Alabama the last 6, 7, 8 years plus, there's a lot of tradition there. There's a lot of first-round picks, a lot of very successful NFL running backs, and Chase McClellan's just been fine. He's definitely going to have to step up. Georgia's run defense is really good, but you got to find ways to create just outside the offense, especially when your quarterback's a dual-threat quarterback. Usually yields more yards per carry and better boxes and better looks for you. So we'd love to see him be able to capitalize on that just a little bit more.
Yeah, you know how I felt going in. I didn't understand his overreaction last week. Give me the effing Heisman. I'm like, what?
Like, brother, you were not the starter
You're not
technically
even
until
close.
week 4. You were the starter, and then you weren't the starter,
Not
and then you
even
were the
close
starter
to being
again.
him.
Like, roll tide and all that, but
Yeah.
let's be realistic about it.
Hey, let's punch it in here, Milroe. Let's punch it in here. Let's punch it in here. Let's see what happens. Can we talk about that abysmal abysmal ending for Auburn, man? How do you give up that play?
Man,
That's when I hate rushing 3.
Yeah,
Just giving them too much time. You're not even rushing the quarterback.
right.
You're going to wait and wait till someone gets open. No one can. We always say, what? Can't cover for 10 seconds. Well,
Right.
You just put the theory to test. And
I always believe at that point you should rush the passer and
you
force
got to
him
speed it up a little bit. It takes
Yeah.
you that long to even get down the
Yeah.
field into a position where you're feeling comfortable anyways. Like,
Right.
I want the defenders with their eyes on the ball, not necessarily chasing and running around, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like you said, if you give guys 5+ seconds, that's too much time. There's a lot of great athletes out here that are going to make
got a
you
blitz
pay for
coming,
that.
maybe?
Oh,
Yes. They picked it up.
Speed it up.
Yo.
Nope.
Placement just wasn't quite there.
I want to see that blitz pickup. Hopefully, we get a instant replay. I want to see Latham on the right.
They denied you, Joe. I'm sorry.
Someone said earlier when you were giving your thoughts on Latham, they said he's overweight and is slow.
So he's an Alabama right tackle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I was going to say, it says a lot that Caden Proctor, who's allowed 10 of their 25 sacks, is
wide
still
open
hanging
guy.
out at left tackle.
Burton wide open, man.
I'll tell you what, man, like Burton has been sneaky, one of the most efficient wide receivers in college football this season. He's second in yards per route run out of 200 receivers.
He said sneaky.
Second.
Oh.
I said the word. I said the
That
key
ball
word.
hooked back
Evan, let
in.
the people know what you're talking about when you say, second
yeah,
routes.
What do you say,
So
sneaky?
yards per route run,
Sneaky athletic.
that basically is just a good efficiency metric, right?
Best
so
metric probably at predicting.
yeah, it's obviously there's flaws with any stat, right? And the flaw that we see with yard per route run is sometimes it can be influenced by if you come out in heavy formations a lot.
Yeah.
You can inflate
Yeah,
it because
Titans
you're the
usually
only
getting
right. But generally speaking, when you're looking at yards per route run, it's basically just how many yards are you getting per route that you run, which is just a good efficiency metric for evaluating how productive you are on a play-by-play basis.
How often does this offense use that receiver and rely on him?
Right.
I think it shows.
And yeah, for Jermaine Burton to be second in yards per route run out of 200 wide receivers, I think that says a lot. A lot of that obviously comes from being such a legitimate deep threat, but that's not taking away from it.
But that's a good thing.
Right.
I mean, that shows that you're getting deep. So like you'll see a slot receiver, and if he gets 100 targets, a lot of times he's not high in the yards per route run because he's not that kind of guy that's going to get deep and make a lot of big plays.
Right, which is why in some instances like that, it's best to look only at slot receivers, right? Because it's unfair if you're comparing the guy who has an average depth of target of 5 yards versus the guy who has 12 or 15 yards on the average depth of target. That's not really a fair one-to-one comparison. And it is kind of funny that you bring that up because as I was looking at Dominic Lovett for Georgia being their second leading, actually he leads the team in target with 64 coming into this game. Brock Bowers had 63, but he's kind of middle of the pack out of 200 receivers in yards per route run from the slot, passer rating when targeted from the slot. I was surprised to not see more production from there, which was kind of making me think, hey, if you can just slow down these guys and make Georgia throw to their outside wide receivers that are dealing with injury and not being as consistent, I feel like forcing boundary throws is a good way to introduce more variance into the game that helps Alabama compensate for some of their dearth in talent.
Dearth in talent.
We always got some fun words on the State of the Jungle show, as Malik can attest
That
to.
Alabama education.
No Sean Marino.
Everybody knows about the Alabama English program. It's
Andre
excellent out there.
Smith.
Andre
Boys, look.
Smith, man, wow.
Talk about typical Alabama right tackles.
Oh, he looks like he still play.
He played forever.
Still
Hey,
play.
credit to Andre Smith. He played forever.
Wow,
Hey,
man.
if Bobby Hart's still out there kicking, then I mean, hey, why
I don't know
not?
if he is.
We haven't heard from Bobby Hart in a while. I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn over there was hanging out with
He
Bobby
tried
Hart for a
following me to
while.
Western New York. I was like, oh. Your eyes over on the.
I'm watching both. We're watching
Yeah,
the SEC,
Malik is locked
and we
in
are
on the
watching UFC,
right
and
now.
I'm
He got
telling
money
you.
on the line, man.
Well, I have potential $12,000 to win. And Wellington Turman was one of my selections. He's a guy I feel really good about, honestly. Oh my gosh. Remember, Glenn, that's what I told you. This guy holds his chin up in the air quite often.
Did he just get hit in the chin?
And
he's just getting checked.
The scary guy's getting beat up.
I mean, he looks wild just off one punch right there.
All right, let's see what Georgia's got. Alabama scores with the points. This is a big potential stop for Alabama. They got to find a way to slow them down. You can't let them get out to a 14-3 lead.
Bowers not out there.
It's really interesting that they've taken him off the field for what, 2-3 run plays now, where they've done that to the right side.
They also put him out wide on a screen to help block there. I mean, that's the thing, right? A tight end is a better blocker than a receiver on a screen.
But he runs like a receiver and has that after the catch ability, which is why that versatility is so unique and attractive.
They got him down, huh?
There it is.
Oh, he's sleeping. No, he's not. Okay.
Just quick nap. He was
just
resting his eyes. All right.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, that move right there, putting your forehead into someone's chin, man.
That's
I'm telling you.
Listen, that chin hurts. You ever wrestle your brother and put your chin in?
I wrestled Daniel. I'm telling you.
Daniel puts his chin on you.
What? That dude has some good wrestling skills. Like I don't like I.
Look at
nah.
him.
Daniel's he's a crafty little bastard,
knows.
man. He's
He knows.
wiry. He's
Listen.
like Gumby, man. He just bends around. Next thing you know, you're all wrapped up.
Now, if we're standing up on the feet, that's a whole different situation.
Right.
You know?
Because the length and the reach. But I
Yeah.
mean, he's probably had to fight through that his whole life. He's
Oh my
scrappy.
God. All his life, he had to fight.
All his life. Grew up fighting.
You should ask him what happens when we're on the basketball court.
Fights
That's another
on the
thing.
basketball court. Prison rules.
You know what happens on the basketball court. You know what I
We
do.
got slot left for Bowers. And they're a little confused. We got a timeout here. This is going to be a timeout.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Yeah,
Is that-
the 11 was confused when he went out in motion. Then they put 38 out, and he was confused. So something happened in the.
I was curious if that was Edwards. I don't
Yep.
see him
Wrapped up the
profiling
neck.
as the receiver.
Wrapped
That
up
would
the neck.
be
He's
an advantageous look for
Yep.
them.
he's
Oh.
getting them reset up. I got to adjust myself over here.
Georgia looks like they got a pretty intricate
We got a little
offense.
commercial break. You adjust yourself. I'm going to adjust my drink.
Hey,
Too.
we got a commercial break on the SEC championship. There ain't no commercial break when it comes to UFC right now. You know?
These guys are going on commercial
Oh.
break. It's just you and I. They're about
Just
to
you and me?
zoom in on me and you.
All right.
What are you drinking, Malik?
What am I drinking? I was drinking some orange juice earlier. You know I don't drink. All I drink is orange juice, maybe a little Coke.
So no drink at all.
Hey, listen, if you put it in front of me, maybe a hard Mike's lemonade. Is that what it's called, right?
Sure.
Mike's hard
Mike's.
lemonade, something like that.
Not a hard Mike's. That's different. That's a different channel. I don't know what you're watching over there.
Oh my gosh. No, but I've got no comeback. I've got no comeback.
We had pizza today.
We had pizza today.
Yeah.
And being from Jersey, I was very skeptical.
I hear you. Western Europe
You
pizza.
know,
man.
all Garrett said to me was Oceanside pizza, man, is the best. And I was skeptical.
just from
of
that
it.
name alone. I'm like,
Oceanside. I mean, yeah,
Oceanside
sure. Right,
pizza.
right. It was pretty good though. It wasn't too bad. Oceanside pizza was not bad. The wings were pretty good.
The wings were good, actually.
Garlic Parmesan wing. We went to a spot last night where I had some fish bites.
What do you mean? Just like chunks, like
Yeah,
nuggets?
like fish nuggets. And let me
Okay.
tell you, man, those were good.
I didn't eat anything before we had that pizza, so
Mm.
my grading scale
Mhm.
completely off.
Okay.
I was starving. Everything's good.
Oh,
You
so
can give me.
this is huge. Amarius Mims is questionable
Another guy.
return with an ankle injury. He's a guy
He's
that could
missed
be,
a lot of time. I don't think he
Yeah.
started a lot of games.
Yeah,
so
that-
I mean, that's
that could hurt his draft stock, honestly.
he was going to have issues like this anyway.
Yeah.
So that's another thing for him.
Stop him. Stop him. Boom.
did.
Let's go. Let's go.
How are you guys watching? Can you leave it in the comments? Are you guys you've got it on the TV and maybe you've got us streaming on a computer or your phone, laptop, whatever you got going on?
Yeah. Let us know, guys. How are you guys
Are
watching
you
the
split
games?
screen?
right now?
Are you just
Yeah.
watching us? I bet there's people that are just watching us.
Yeah, listen, I feel that we're special enough to be watched.
To
by-
just
by,
watch.
you know.
Oh, they both hit
Oh,
each other
no.
at the same
Yeah, I
time. It
don't
was
like
like
that.
stepbrothers when they hit each other with the baseball bat and the golf club. Oh, he knocked him.
He
Look
did.
at him. He's almost done.
He did. If he gets his grappling though going,
He's almost
Here.
got him. This might be it
he
for him.
almost did. Oh man, this could be bad.
Yep. This could be it. Yeah.
Oh man.
We might get a great. Oh, he
Whoa.
split his head. He split above the ear.
He hit him in the back of the head.
Elbow twice now. I mean, you may need to call it. He's going to choke him out. This is it.
Well, he's playing in his world. Oh, it's over. It's over. It's over.
He's got a good grip on him.
It's
That's
over.
it. You got to call
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yep.
over. Wellington terminal loss. Well, there's that.
He got one solid. When they both hit each other, so we're going to show the replay here.
Mhm.
It looked like when they both hit, dude in the black trunks was just he was stunned off it.
Yeah.
He's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
swear.
Somebody said they're getting a haircut and watching on their phone. We appreciate the commitment.
Getting a haircut and watching on your phone. Post pictures of the cut.
Yeah, we listen, post pictures or it didn't happen.
Right there. Boom.
Yeah.
Jeez. And then we're straight. Oh, he missed. Oh, but he was grabbing his shoulder too when he was on the ground right afterwards. He might that. Oh, right there where they
Yeah.
both stepbrothers each other.
Yeah. Ugh. And he looked so good last
Rocking him.
round.
Rocking him.
He looked
Those
so
hits are
good last
landing.
round, man.
He's done. Ooh.
We're finding some breathing room in the run game here.
Look at
Looking a lot
65.
better, opening up some creases.
Look at Latham. He can run block.
Yeah.
We got to see how well he can move still. But man, they run behind him pretty often.
That's like a boa constrictor grab, man. Like he had him dead to rights.
Yeah,
And
man.
the scary guy wins.
Scary guy won.
Scary guy wins, man.
Glenn, I need you to start putting some UFC picks out there on some bets. It's like the scariest guy. The same way, you know, there's always
Right.
that like family member you have that picks like the NCAA tournament
Yeah.
by which mascot they like better.
Sure.
So I
Colors.
feel like you might have some magic juice.
Scary man.
Lean into it.
It works that way. I picked teams. So I did the in our local newspaper when I was like 12. I picked all the games correctly
Oh, really?
based on mascots, basically, and being a 12-year-old, and I won.
They sent him $100.
Maybe we're just overthinking this, guys. Maybe we don't need to look at film. Maybe we can just who has the better aesthetic.
They called looking for my dad. They're like, wait, how old are you?
Oh, that
Oh,
was
that was-
interesting. That was interesting.
He chose to keep it. Georgia did a great job there, but he chose to keep it. And at that point, it was so late in the play.
Right. You were almost, I mean, you're so far outside the pocket. I love the idea to pull up and pass there and have
And
that
it-
wherewithal, but
You got to zip that ball if you're going to throw that.
right. You really got to set your feet and drive it. He was kind
You
of
gotta leave a
fading
man
backwards a
downfield.
little bit.
That's what I mean. It was so late that he decided to keep it and throw it that
Right.
your guys are downfield.
That's always the tough part of running those RPOs, like we were talking about earlier before when
It
we were
is.
on camera, is that you can't be as aggressive driving those defenders downfield.
Yep.
You just they're looking so hard for these illegal man downfield penalties.
And I think it's even stricter in the NFL, to be honest with you.
I feel like they've made a point of emphasis, particularly in the last year or two, with more prevalence of these read option plays and these option play RPOs.
I think that's one of the big things that's wrong with the Bengals rush offense. Is you remember how often was Jonah getting called for illegal man downfield last year, right?
Yeah.
And he's now like none of them go downfield. So they're not drive blocking. They're not really pushing as far as they should be. They're not climbing to get that linebacker because they're not sure if Burrow's keeping it or not.
Right.
End of the first quarter. Clearly, if you guys are watching.
You know, something I learned about like seagulls in their natural habitat.
Okay,
They actually hunt.
Yes, I am
They
here.
eat fish. The seagulls up in Niagara Falls.
Wait, they're
eat
not just
trash.
scavengers?
Right. I've been watching, like, I saw a seagull with a fish earlier, and it's pretty impressive just sitting here.
How do you know
looking
that
at the
fish wasn't just laying on the side, though?
Well, that's a good point.
They could grab a fish out of the ocean or see somebody's cooler that's open.
I was going to say, do the old butcher chop trick of buy the best fish you can find. Yeah, look what I caught. Isn't this so great? Yeah, look at this flounder.
That's
It's awesome.
a seagull returning home to his wife.
Yeah.
Honey, look what I caught. Straight out of the water. Couldn't even see it.
Could you project? I got this is a question from Ed Smith on Twitter. Can we project Brock Bowers to the Bengals with the way the offense is currently structured for the Bengals? And what I think he means here is, in a lot of the questions people have, is, and it leads into the do they value the tight end position? Would they use a tight end correctly? Would they give enough targets to a tight end to spend a top 15 pick on one? I think there's two ways to go about this. One, it's hard to say they would because the way the offense is, but I think the offense is this way because you have three great receivers. Right. So why would you throw to a tight end? Guys, the best tight end is Hayden Hurst.
And to be generous, of the last 3 or 4 seasons, saying league average is probably generous.
That's what I was going to say. Right. So Hayden Hurst, CJ Uzama, those guys got, I mean, as a whole, they're sending 80 targets that way. Brock Bowers gets all of Boyd's, maybe not all of, because Charlie Jones is going to do it.
Right.
A chunk of Boyd's targets plus all the tight end targets. I think he'd be a 100 target guy easy.
And this is not like Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury, where they were doing more 5 wide receivers than anybody out there. They're doing more 11 personnel than anyone out there, which
Bengals
means
have
the
a tight end
is on
every
the
play.
field, right? So it's not that he wouldn't be on the field or he wouldn't be utilized. I just feel like that's a point of emphasis that has not been stressed because you haven't had a guy that you feel like you can rely upon, like a Jamar, like a T, that you say, okay, well, it's an afterthought. It is an afterthought.
Put the weapons out there, right? Is it who do we want to throw the most balls to? Jamar Chase and then T. Higgins. And then it comes down to Tyler Boyd. Would you rather throw to Joe Mixon or Irv Smith Jr. right now? Would you rather throw to Joe Mixon or Tanner Hudson? Like, to be honest with you, tight end comes fifth in this offense because of the talent disparity.
Yeah, you did a projection earlier before the season even started about targets. You can only have so many targets, and even if you have this receiving core, and you're expecting how many targets like a Travis Kelce, so it's why the Chiefs don't necessarily need a receiving core like they do.
when you start divvying up the target share, it's sometimes
math.
you sit there and you go, wow, like, okay, well, if Chase is getting 24% and T. Higgins is getting another 20%, and then there's, another 25 or 30% between the running backs and tight end.
Where's that Bengals on the brain book? I had Irv Smith for like 317 yards on the year, and people were like, what? That's low.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
come on, look at Hayden Hurst, look at CJ.
You wanted Chase to get 150 plus targets, right? I mean, how many? Where's
the only way it happens, which is crazy because he was on pace last year before he had that injury to just have a crazy 180 season. Yeah, that target volume is nuts, and it sucks, man. I wish we could have one full healthy year with both of Jamar and Joe and T, man. God bless T, man, like for going out there with a broken rib, risking further injury, risking loss of value to his future contract. Like, I don't want to hear from anybody if things don't work out well from him and staying with the Bengals.
And here he is getting back now. Clearly, the team is on the verge of being out of it completely,
right?
If not already out of it, based on the situation. Good throw and timing in the pocket there. Good move.
All right, come on.
But also, T's coming back, because he wants to play. He wants to put it out there.
Right.
He's played about 65% of the snaps over his 4-year career with the Bengals. He needs to finish this last 5 weeks healthy and productive, as productive as he can be with Jake Browning.
Yeah, no, I actually was curious about that. I went back and I looked.
That was bad.
That's a clear face mask.
That was bad. That was something I would do.
When I was going
face masking people?
Huh? You weren't supposed to catch that.
Oh. That was on your own guy. That wasn't
No, I'm saying, like, if I was playing football, I mean, you're
a little bit of a goon. I would skirt the rules as much as possible.
I mean, you got to remember, I was a big Montez Burfict guy,
Oh.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say
a habitual line stepper.
Listen, he was egregious at points. He did things. He did some things that crossed the line for sure.
He slammed that guy down. Did you see his head bounce off?
Yeah. I appreciate aggressive linebacker play. I do.
We're not getting that lately.
No, it seems to be.
We like the linebacker duo.
We like the linebacker duo.
It's just not been to the level that you would expect.
Exactly.
I think a lot of it, and people have asked why, the defensive tackle play, other than Reader doing his thing, and BJ Hill's having a bounce back year.
Right.
You got to have depth because every time those backups are in, I'm like, God, they just gave up an 8-yard run.
Yeah, I know Zach Carter had that nice punch out. He's had a few flashes, but that's the problem is the inconsistency is the large part of that, where he has just not been what they hoped. And yeah, you can't be that massive, that strong, and keep getting blown off the line of scrimmage. It's just not going to work for you.
Can't do it. Can't win with them. Can't do it.
Right. While we have a quick break here, never mind. We're back. Here
we
comes the tush push.
Sneak.
And I don't know.
That was fun.
Nothing happened.
That was a long one. What are we pointing? 65.
Latham, come on now. Latham, yeah.
But you were talking about T. Higgins, and I was curious about this before this season. So I looked at the prior 3 seasons to getting a contract, and I looked at Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Obviously, better quality receivers, higher number on the contract, but just as a reference point for how many games did these guys miss? And in the 3 years prior to this season, T. Higgins had actually played in more games than Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams had in their 3 years prior to their contract. So I think this year, injuries to the ribs, injury to the hamstring definitely can read to the hesitation.
Andy Reid's here.
Andy Reid for a second there.
I don't want to talk about Andy Reid.
Yeah, no. Sore subject for a lot involved, but
Joe had a percentage of snaps T. Higgins has played.
Yeah, before he missed last week, it was 66.8%.
Right. And that was the thing is when I was looking at this, originally we were 2 or 3 weeks into the rib injury, and I wanted to look at, hey, 3 seasons prior to where you got a contract, what percentage of snaps were you? Now, obviously, missing 6-7 games this season is really going to hurt that, but it's still not going to put you too far below where these other receivers are. I'd like to do some more work on that in the offseason.
See what's
more
normal.
math. Yeah, and see what kind of the level of snaps played is normal for a lot of these receivers, because I feel like that's one of those positions where it's easy to get banged up in. If you got a hamstring injury or a calf injury, anything soft tissue, groin especially too, is real finicky.
Man, I think 77, what he just did 96 may have been illegal. Let's see if that's what they're calling. 77,
it was so nasty and impressive? Or
he torqued the hell out of him out of there, but I wonder if his left hand was holding him. Holding offense. Number 77, it was.
Joe got that eagle eye.
I think he's just honing in on the 2 lines.
Oh, he's
like
watching the trenches.
The
Yeah.
trenches, like you've been watching.
Right here, up in the middle. Let's see what he did on 96. See? Wow.
What was
I
wrong
think
there?
he
Nothing.
just got
There was
smoked
nothing
by
wrong.
Goodberry.
Latham, let's give some credit to Latham because
He
we've
got
got him a couple
bumped.
times.
Hey.
That's a combo block. He's
Yeah.
going to get under him,
I
under
love
his
that.
rib pads, knock him down, and climb to the
pancake.
second level. He did. There's nothing wrong with that play at all. You know what the ref did? He did what I did. He noticed the guy get knocked down and he just threw the flag. It doesn't matter. We got a touchdown.
Wow.
Alabama taking the lead. Malik Wright.
I'm happy.
He's like me when I was watching. I was watching a couple Bengals games with my girlfriend, and she was giving me shit because when I watch any other game, I usually have enjoyment, and when I'm watching a Bengals game, I'm just even keeled the entire
that's
time.
me. That's literally this is literally me.
And it
like
freaks her out
yeah.
because I'm never too high or too low.
Yeah.
They could be up 2 touchdowns, and I'm like,
Was that
wait and
mesh?
see.
We get a little mesh there, get them to pick up that linebacker, get them free. Yeah, good touch
I'm
pass.
probably the worst person to watch a football game with. If you're looking for like pure like somebody to be
Reactive
jumping, I'm zoned in. Me and my guy Kevin, we're literally in the first half. We're literally analyzing everything as a coach the entire game.
You got so much time you're spending looking everywhere else. You almost don't have time to react because they're walking out in between the snap, and you're like, okay, what formation are they in? Where's the strength of this?
Because you know George is going to try to answer here, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
He needs a camera set up when he's watching the Bengals. He's fist pumping.
I'm
trying to
the
walk
other end of the
listen.
spectrum.
I'm doing both. Like
He
if
looks
I
like Tiger Woods after a birdie putt.
Gets
like
real
because
deep
I'll
on
see
that,
someone
full
getting,
lunge.
getting held or something going on, or they call it, so it's analytical, but it's like, come
Right.
on, you held him.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Here's the funny thing. By seeing my personality on a show or something like that, you'd be like, oh, this guy is absolutely bananas. And then, Joe is very like, here's the tight end, and here's the wide receiver, and all the kind of stuff like that. And then you get us together in a room watching a game.
Yeah.
It's like reverse.
Yeah.
It's reverse.
Yeah.
It's absolutely reverse. So it's kind of
Well, that's
kind
why
of crazy
I,
how that thing shakes out.
I do try to tell people. I think maybe it's my own thoughts, but I think some people view me a certain way by the way I analyze the game. But
Mhm.
that's afterwards. That's without the emotion.
Right.
You're watching the film. I already know they
Oh, yeah.
fail on
I
third
think
down.
they forget you're a fan first.
Oh, I think they definitely
That's
do
what
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Your base is you're a fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
The
That's
only
always my
reason I
thing.
do this is because I'm a fan. I want to see more. I want to know
Mhm.
more. I want to know what's
Mhm.
going
He's
on.
obsessive compulsive.
For sure.
And now here we are.
That's something I always try to stress too is like when the game kicks off until the final whistle blows, like we're fans. Like we want something to happen, but like it's easy for people to believe that you're being pessimistic or overly optimistic about things when people just ask, give me your analysis, give me your thoughts and opinion. And you try to give your analyst hat on and take your fan hat off. And sometimes that's easier to do than others. And recognizing your own bias is definitely something you can do. But yeah, when the game kicks off, I am 100% a fan. But outside of that, I try and be as objective as possible in my analysis.
But there was a comment in here from Socks, and he says he watched the video of an octopus grabbing a seagull and pulling him into the ocean.
Oh, that's wild.
Octopus, they're not part of this planet.
They're aliens.
They're not
They
from here.
arrived here on a meteorite. You ever seen the videos of them?
Dude, have you seen the videos of
Arriving?
them squeezing like under a 1-inch hole on a deck? Like they end up on a boat and
Yes.
they just slink off.
And then they
go,
some of them can camouflage and hide.
oh my
Right.
God. They're like
Or people
water
that got
chameleons.
little ones in the house. They got these tanks. They got these little squid or octopus. They'll find them in the corner of their house. Like, how did they get
Dude,
out of this tank?
there's some gnarly,
They
there's
got,
some
they
gnarly
got the
creatures.
cat in a headlock.
I don't mess with the ocean. Oh my God. That's terrifying.
You can't get them off.
I'm telling you, that's Malik and I are smart. We don't mess with the ocean. We don't know what's down there.
I don't like the idea of a suction cup octopus getting on me.
No,
No.
not
Not
at
at
all. That freaks me out. They
That
got
be-
beaks too.
That
man.
being said,
Like,
I
you gotta
love
realize.
I love the view. Just for those of you that are just tuning
Yeah.
in, we're live from the First Star Logistics Beach House in Melbourne as we're watching the SEC championship game, and we're watching a little bit of UFC. We got an awesome crew here, and the waves are crashing in pretty heavy. I don't know if we can take a little shot there, but it looks pretty nice, pretty peaceful. It's getting a little cooler. Sun's starting to go
I was
down a
gonna
little
say
bit.
it's getting darker earlier, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if
man.
I'm a fan of that. I like my sunlight.
I can hear the waves crashing in
Oh,
my
man.
headphones.
Can
You
you hear
guys
that?
have
Nice.
a
Is
mic
that
on
nice
it?
for you guys? Can
man.
you guys hear it?
Beautiful.
It's
Uh,
pretty awesome.
We had SW from Twitter says he's watching the game on mute and listening to us and loving
Hey,
it.
Oh,
respect.
man,
We
I
appreciate you.
appreciate
Much
that.
love. Much
Yep.
love.
Brock
Appreciate
Bowers
that.
to the right again, 2 tight ends to the right. And it's a pitch. Yep. He's blocking. He did enough there.
And make sure you guys give this video a like as well and subscribe to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel as well. Cannot forget to say that. But yeah, maybe Alabama can pull this one out. Who knows? But Definitely think Milrose.
Who knows?
Some-
Joe knows.
Joe knows. Yeah.
What do I know?
He says you know who's going to win this game. That's what he
Not
said.
me.
I don't know, man.
Joe knows. Is
He's
that like a
holding
play
out.
on?
He just doesn't want to ruin the
Is
suspense.
that
for
a
us.
play on Bo knows?
Yeah,
I like it. New segment on Bengals on the Brain. Joe knows.
Joe knows.
Joe knows.
What the hell's going on with the Bengals offense? Well, Joe knows. He's going to tell you.
He'll tell you on the new segment, Goodberry, Badberry, coming up next.
What's good and what's bad with the Bengals offense?
Exactly.
We are creating content right now, boys.
We're creating content.
This is the peak of streaming
Brainstorming.
content. I think it's all downhill from here for everybody else. Pat McAfee's in shambles.
This is the new wave.
New media, baby. Hey,
Oh, look at them. Look at those D linemen helping each other out, getting their chin strap buckled.
That's a good friend. That's team
Yeah,
A.
it
That's going to
is.
improve the draft stock a little bit. You
No
see
doubt. I'm
that.
putting
That
that in the
definitely is
notebook.
some plus.
We got a 3rd and 2 here. Bowers, he and another tight end blocking that edge. It helped a little bit there as he's rolling on the ground. Whoa.
he seems really disoriented.
He's like,
right
hurry
now.
up. He
had to
wants to
figure
clock.
out where he
He's
is,
calling
yeah.
plays, man. He was sweating.
Get him a headset. Get him over on the Alabama sideline. Help out.
I think he was wearing a Georgia.
Oh
think
man,
so.
well never
I-
mind.
I don't know if you're trying to
maybe he
cheat
goes
or-
the other sideline.
He's
Yeah.
sweating because he's on Molly.
Popped Molly, I'm sweating. Woo!
This college ball, man.
It is college
Like
ball.
a college kid.
College. Little play action, help with the pocket there, over the middle, bang. Bowers is out there.
There's the play action that we were talking about earlier with Carson Beck being one of the highest differences in yards per attempt on standard dropbacks versus play action dropbacks. 9 touchdowns to 1 interception. He's really been good on these play action looks.
I love pulling the guard on play action. You know why? Because there's a front 7 or 6, wherever the D-line defense is in, they're reading the motion of those offensive linemen. So when you see a guard pull, you're not reading the play action from the running back
chasing.
quarterback exchange. You're seeing the guard pull and you're saying, oh, it is a run, because you're watching that front, and usually you pull on the run plays, obviously.
Which seems counterintuitive, right? You would
It
think
does.
having more pass blocking in there would help you. But it's also the same where people have done data studies on, hey, does max protection really yield better protection results?
Right.
And
Less guys in protection tends to lead to less sacks. It's why the Bengals,
Right.
they're empty in theory, but they need good offensive linemen to do this, to actually pull it off.
right.
Well, being an empty, having 5 guys, if they're only rushing 4,
Mhm.
you should be able to protect.
You get that advantage versus as you bring more defenders into the box, it only
Now you
takes
don't know
one
who's
block
coming.
to ruin
Yes.
before you lose and blow up a pass play. So bringing more guys into the box gives more opportunities for one player to have a failure in that regard.
So there's a lot here. If you're just watching college because we're saying, hey, watch us on the stream here, and you're not really a big college fan, or if you are, I think there's a lot to take here for the Bengals offense as well, because we're talking about shotgun teams, right? That will run power,
Right.
that have a lot of play action, moving parts.
And where are a majority of these spread teams? These predominantly spread teams. It's in college.
It is. And people say, well, who should be the guy they get for an offensive line run game coordinator? To me, you're probably where do they run this the best? It's in college.
Yeah.
You may want to be looking in those.
And, I
ranks.
mean, you have to be able to adapt, right, and step outside your comfort zone. Whoever you bring in, if you do choose to bring in someone in, it shouldn't be someone inside the Bengals bubble or Bengals box.
No.
We kind of talked about
You
that.
got to get some fresh
On
ideas.
Saturday.
We're releasing Bowers straight up the field. He's going for him. Oh, it wasn't. No, sorry, guys. I got you excited for nothing.
Joe lies.
Yeah.
You're off the show.
I'm out
Put
of
the
here.
headset down. We're done.
He
Daniel,
released
sub in.
very well. I thought it was him, and then I must have had a
We
crossing.
got the
route
other
from
Goodberry.
right.
You two switch.
So 11 comes from the right side. Watch Bowers on the left. I want to see what he does then. So I saw him go all the way upfield. He stopped in order to pull this
stop.
number 1.
Yeah.
And I bet the defender got his hands. Yep, had to be.
Kool-Aid.
Good defense.
That's Kool-Aid then, huh? Number 1.
Yes, one of the all-time first-round names that exists out there in college football today.
Your name's Kool-Aid and you are number 1. I mean,
You're cool, right? Like,
Yes.
You're doing all right.
ooh, good job. Hey,
Kool-Aid McKinstry this season is 8th in forced incompletion percentage, 5th in PFF grade,
There's
and
another one.
11th in coverage grade. Another really good Alabama corner.
that's another forcing completion.
Jake,
He's a baller, man.
Joe, you got a comment from somebody here that says Joe knows nothing. His name is Jon Snow. So there you go.
You know nothing, Jon
Yeah.
Snow.
Glenn's never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh no!
Oh, it's
I
great.
just spoiled
Great show.
everything
I
for
watched
you.
the first few episodes, and then there was like incest, and I was like, I got
And you checked out. You're like, hey, this is a family household.
The North-
Okay, we
What,
don't.
what did they say? The North remembers.
You might have been watching Game of Bones.
Hey, honestly, I need Game of Zones to come back, man. That used to make me laugh so much.
We got to scramble for a first down. Georgia is in business. Ooh, the right tackle got it.
Notice a couple play action shot plays for Georgia.
Jake,
it feels like there's a
Jake,
little bit more.
you know I love you, man. I'm sorry. I said Jake and then I said Joe and I mixed up the names and I said someone. Of course, Jake Lisco is the one
that's
that said.
Jake in there.
Jake's in the comment section.
How you doing? Hope
You
your
know,
traveling is going well, man.
that my bad, Jake.
You
sorry.
weren't reading that.
Some
Sorry.
guy
I was
named
not
Jake.
reading.
Jake doesn't know how it is to read comments while you're trying to do a show. This is something he's never done.
All love Jake.
Jake, thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you're doing all right. Know you're doing a lot of traveling. Hope you're staying safe.
Yeah, are you back? Is this it? Is this West Coast time, Jake? Or are you completely messed up from your Euro trip?
Oh, he's got to be messed up. Yeah.
Jake's always messed up though.
Well,
Jake, I
Yeah,
miss
no,
you.
I feel
miss
like
you,
he's
Jake.
sleep deprived all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you guys remember that movie, Euro Trip?
No,
Euro trip?
No.
I need to add this to my watch
It's a
list.
comedy. Yeah, I think you'll have a good time with
Okay,
it. It was
yeah.
funny 15 years ago. So
Hey, that's all right. I mean,
He said West Coast time. I'm very messed up. What are we doing for some live bets, y'all?
I believe
Nice try, Derek.
why?
You know,
We can't do that.
Subscribe to my Patreon if you want my bets.
Oh,
you
you're
know,
doing that on
Yeah,
Patreon.
I'm not, listen, man, it's all love, man.
Nice
but,
try, he
nice try. You know,
So what's the next match we got here?
we got Ihor Patera taking on a guy making his UFC debut. I think his name is Rodolfo Bellato.
In
he's
yellow.
from-
Bolato's yellow.
Yeah,
Al-
from
Always take the guy with cauliflower ear. The yellow shorts.
Oh, yeah,
has
no,
some
that's-
cauliflower ear.
He doesn't look like he has the stamina, Glenn. I'm
that is
we
the
got a
biggest
sack.
red flag.
No,
If you ever
watch
talk to somebody and they got a cauliflower ear, don't start stuff like
No.
Oh,
just tell them, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
right. You're at a bar and cauliflower ear looks at you.
No,
That's it.
yeah,
You might want to go
keep
find
on
another
moving.
bar.
Like, hey, you need a refresher? You good? What you drinking?
Long arm move from Bama. Get to the inside. Good job. Stab that under that armpit right here. Lift him off balance and then come back inside.
And I know Dallas Turner gets a lot of appreciation and love, and rightly so. But Chris Braswell's also been really good for for the Alabama defensive line. 87.2 pass rush grade is 17th out of 200 defenders, 15th in win percentage on true pass sets, and 10th in pass rush productivity on those true
You
pass
got a
sets.
penalty.
And those true pass
start.
sets are basically just filtering out screens and play action to give you a better understanding and a more accurate picture of
True
what
pass sets
actually
is where it's
happens.
at.
It really is, because so many of especially when the ball's out in 2.5 seconds or less, so many teams are using quick game. Like, it definitely gives you a better idea of how productive edge rushers are being and how offensive linemen are being in protection on these pass plays where they just get to pin their ears back and go after them.
You saw me on that first third down we got out of the game, 3rd and 7. I sit up. All right, we got a true pass set situation
Right.
because
That's when your ears perk up.
these are the evaluation plays. I
Right.
don't care if you ran play action and went the other way, booted the quarterback the other way. That is not in the event. I don't like
This was one thing about Mike McGlinchey when people were falling in love with him in the offseason and saying, oh my gosh.
Oh, that 5 yards made a difference.
Oh man.
Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go, Bama.
But we had talked about this previously, where the importance of true pass sets, because if you filtered out all the play action boots and all the screens to Debo and everything else that came out in less than 2.5 seconds and qualified as quick
Especially
game,
in college. How many throws are under 2 seconds when they're just
right,
flipping it
when
out?
you're spreading it out, you're doing all these different screen games.
Andre Dillard in it for Washington State, right?
Right.
They're just constantly quick passing, quick.
Right.
Those
But
are the
then
run
those
games.
are, we didn't allow pressure. Look at how many snaps without a pressure.
Right.
And
He
it's
went
like, well,
999 snaps out of a sack.
if
He
80
only
or
protected
90%
for-
of your exactly, it's
might be-
different.
Right. He was at like 180 true
Right.
pass sets over a 3-year career.
Which is why when you're looking at offensive line play, you're looking at trench play and anything in terms of pass rush, true pass sets is such a valuable insight into the true productivity and ability of offensive linemen and defensive
So
linemen.
while Malik got to put a plug in for his subscribers, my subscribers on Twitter, I did a whole breakdown of this on true pass sets and how often the Bengals are doing it. And they're at about 49% of their offensive pass sets are true pass sets. Thank you, sir. There was a little fly on me, wasn't
Yeah, I
there?
don't know what that was.
He came in from the ocean. We got to be
I'm
careful.
gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Glad to be right back.
Do your
guys.
thing. I'm gonna
We'll hold
finish
it
this.
down.
And I wanted to know, okay, 49%, is that about right? Are the Bengals leaving their offensive line exposed too often to protect Joe Burrow
That's a really good
adequately,
question.
right?
I'd be curious about that.
So I looked at the Chiefs, I looked at the Bills, I looked at the Eagles. All these teams were typically in the 46 to 50-ish% for true pass sets, which is very normal.
Mhm.
But what I wanted to see is who's the outlier out of all this? Who has the cutting edge offense in today's NFL?
Right.
Really, right now it's the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
They are half of the time running true pass sets. I think so. The Bengals were at 218. I'm in the range. I'm using my memory here.
Right.
And I want to say the Dolphins were at 108 true pass sets so far this year. And you wonder why Tua's not getting hit? So like 80% of your sacks and pressures come out of true pass sets. So if you're never in them,
Right.
you're not getting Tua
You're
hit.
reducing the quarterback hits, which is so essential for Tua, who has had so many concussion
It
issues.
may need to be essential now for Burrow.
Right.
We may need to think of this and how can we protect Burrow and not get him hit as much? And it may need to start adding in more easy passes, rolling pockets, play action.
And I feel like that plays to his strengths too, because obviously he can create and he is mobile, but also he has such quick processing and accuracy to where he knows a lot of times where he's going before
Remember
the snap.
Tua at Alabama, processing, anticipation, accuracy.
Anticipation.
And during
It wasn't about the
shotgun,
arm
too.
strength. Yeah. It's just playing. And I was talking to Malik about this a little bit too. As T. Higgins maybe transitions out and Tyler Boyd transitions out, and maybe you get a guy like a Brock Bowers, is it maybe time for the Bengals, who came in originally believing, hey, we're going to be wide zone, play action. Now we're going to be shotgun spread and gap run. Is it time for maybe them to look to find more offensive weapons like a Jamar Chase that can create after the catch, a la Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, to where you can hit some of these shorter routes and they can create offense for you outside of the scheme?
So Jake Lisco's bringing up a good point, and I love that you ended it creating outside of the scheme. When we talk about scheming things, we got a deep pass here, underthrown severely in this pass.
And there's the pass. God, I hate that so much.
Underthrow pass interferences. Because what do you do as a defender? You're running to catch up.
They literally just stop while you're running. And it's like, man, what do you want me to do? Like in the instant see that and then just fall over sideways and let them catch it? Like what?
Remember, it used to be
I feel like if you are directly behind them, it shouldn't be. If you're like maybe left, right in front, like.
Well, remember the face mask used to be incidental contact 10 yards versus
Right.
15 yards, or was it 5 yards? Either way, I think you could almost have was it a bad pass or uncatchable type situation? And that's a 15-yard
If you
penalty.
can make
Well,
sorry,
I was
go
going
ahead.
to say, you got 24 turn around looking for the ball anyway.
He did try
and
at the
runs
end.
it. He
Right.
did try. Before he even made contact, he was looking for the ball.
Right.
Sorry.
No. That's
Because
a
we
fair
want
point.
them to turn and look for the ball, ideally.
Yeah.
That clearly tells you like, oh, okay, at least they're trying to make a play on the ball versus like, oh,
Just
they
tackling the
yeah,
dude.
right.
So Jake's point that basically Tua is not the difference in the offense there. And for a lot of people will say, well, why don't we do more of what the Niners do? Why don't we do more of what
I'd say
the
you don't have the
Dolphins do?
personnel to do that.
I would say that too. But I would also say is they're taking the ball out of the quarterback's mind.
Which is not what you want to do for Joe Burrow, because
don't.
Brock
That's his
Purdy and
strength.
Tua are the short throws, the anticipation, like the
play action, it's more of a 1-2 read, the ball should be coming out off that play action. Where it's with Burrow, it's get to the line. I've got an answer for if it's middle of the field closed over here. I've got an answer if it's middle of the field open over here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the defense? Will gain positive yardage on every single play if they read it correctly. That's great. And you want your guy to be able to do that because on third downs, right? These 3rd and 7, these true pass sets,
right?
These late in the games when you're losing the game, that's when defenses can toy with you. When you're ahead of the game, and ahead of the sticks, and you can run for 6 yards, right? You can stay ahead and you can toy with defenses, and you can have.
We've seen that, right, with the Jets and Dolphins. I'm sorry, actually, even a couple weeks before that, when you take away the run game from the Dolphins, things come to a standstill.
It does.
Right?
It does. And the Bengals did this against the Niners as well. And they made Brock Purdy. Now they're fooling with him a little bit more, and they're making him play outside of structure. And when you can do that for a guy like Purdy and for Tua, you're going to limit them. And in the playoffs, these guys need to make plays out of structure because it's going to be the best coaches taking away your schemed stuff.
It's just like in the NBA when you have that much time to game plan and you week to week are not going to tremendously change your philosophy on offense or defense to match who you play that week. But in the playoffs, you absolutely are. You're going to put guys in like Trey Flowers that you didn't use all season, but that game you're playing Travis Kelce. So you say, hey, we're going to use a lot of Trey Flowers.
And you want your quarterback to be able to pick apart a defense mentally. But I will say, so I've made those, to stay on this real quick. I've made the point, we don't want to run the Browns offense, right? Like I think the Browns offense work, but it's not quarterback centric.
No,
it's let's make sure we have a good defense. Let's make sure we got a great run game. All that
play
is good
within the scheme,
right? Play right. Don't do anything crazy to make 1 read, 2 read run, whatever. Keep it simple and don't put it on the quarterback. where the Bengals are willing to, and why the Bengals look so much worse with a backup quarterback in than these other teams will, because the Bengals are quarterback centric, and it's a good thing because we want them to be that in the playoffs and when the game's on the line.
Well, I think the Rams agree with you because obviously they reached a certain peak and they said we can't get any farther by just playing within the scheme of Jared Goff.
And all the numbers say Goff and Stafford, not a big of a difference, but we know with our eyes
those couple plays where the arm angle is shifted when under pressure that you can get it to the guy in the intermediate.
Can Stafford do something that Goff can't? We know he can.
And that's the thing with Burrow too, is not that Tua can't attack the intermediate field very well, but Burrow was literally, as a rookie, as a sophomore, one of the best intermediate passers we've seen since Peyton Manning.
Yellow shorts, Glenn's pointing it out.
Cauliflower ears getting his
the
head
scary
beat.
guys, man. There's something there. Go for the scary guys.
He's the one getting his head beat
he's
in.
getting.
Oh, he is. I was confused.
He's used to it. He's used to it. Don't worry, it's fine.
Rose is doing okay.
But I would hate to take away from that intermediate part of the field that makes Joe Burrow so special, because his ability to hit the hole shots, layer throws behind the linebackers, I feel like that's part of his superpower. And if you go to that scheme, like you were talking about with the 49ers, the Dolphins, you take away from some of that by putting them in structure.
Vikings, Browns, Shanahan style offenses. But I will say, having said all that,
doesn't mean you can't have easy buttons or answers,
exactly. You need to find a middle ground. I want some of the scheme stuff. I want some of the ground game. I want to make it so it's not
passing is more advantageous than running or more productive, but it doesn't mean pass 80-90% of the time.
You've got to be good at running or efficient at running for this to work, number one. Number two, and I don't mean that you need to be a good running team to get play action. No, I need you to get chunk plays on running the ball. And the Bengals are the last in the league for chunk runs. But number two, I want it so it's not so taxing on Joe Burrow on 90% of the plays.
That is a great point, because when I worked at PFF, I had the great pleasure of picking the brain of Zach Robinson, who's now the passing game coordinator for the Rams.
He was a backup for the Bengals for a while?
Yes, for the Patriots, for the Bengals, and the Seahawks, and actually was interviewed for the offensive coordinator position for the Chargers and the Ravens this offseason. And Zach made a really good point when he and a couple different guys were talking about, with our data scientist, about what is the perfect run-pass ratio from a data side to a quarterback side. And just listening to that conversation, and they kind of melded it, hey, that 50 to 60% range is where you want to be. And Zach brought up a great point, that the human element of being a quarterback, going out there, reading a defense on every single play, doing RPOs where you're reading somebody, it is mentally taxing. The same way where if you sit down and you do complex math for 45 minutes, you get done and you're like, wow, like I need to step away for a second. Like it's the same for a quarterback. Having some of those run plays, some of those easy buttons gives them a chance to take a mental breather, which is something that I personally have never considered as someone who didn't play at that level, which was a very unique insight from him that I thought was good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think there is a middle ground you can find there with the Bengals and Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. And I think that's the next step in this offense. I don't like to read too much into body language and stuff, but you know how the opposing fan bases will post the pictures of like Joe Burrow looking like he just is gone through the ringer, and his face is like a ghost. He's been hit so many times. It's from
like
the
you
playoffs.
Get home from a long day of work, you sit down on the couch, and then you go.
And he's getting up, and he's just looking like this. And I don't, not to read too much into it, but it looks like he's mentally burnt out at the end of the year. Yeah. And it's like, you got to keep
all those reps matter, man. It
does.
Really does. Like not only taking the hits, but those mental reps of like, yes, he does have a super computer for a brain, but you can give him a little bit of the breathing. You can meet him halfway at some of those points.
Yellow shorts.
Oh,
a lot of wins.
He came back.
A lot of wins.
Glenn's on this.
He was getting smacked in the head. He didn't care. He's got cauliflower ear, man.
Betting favorites. Glenn's got the betting on this one.
This is just a street.
Y'all asking Malik for his best.
This is a street smart.
Glenn for his over here.
Glenn and I watched a lot of fights in the city just growing up. Oh, was that picked? God. I haven't been paying attention to the game now because we had such a long discussion on that. I hope that answered what people were looking for on that.
Back of cauliflower.
It's definitely a difficult, complicated kind of nuanced discussion because you want to have those easy buttons, but you also want to not take away from an elite player, a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league.
Got a question here from Derek Davis. Can Jake Browning make a significant step forward on Monday due to nothing but inexperience last week? Or is there more of a core problem that can't be overcome?
I personally, of course, I think the only way up is from here is up, honestly. So he can make strides, but I don't think you're going to see like some drastic improvement from.
You're going to see a step forward, not a giant leap.
He was bad last week.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
you're on the backup quarterback.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even when saying this, and I think this is sometimes where people may think I'm being like overly pessimistic, but I'm just being honest. You ask a guy who is a practice squad lifer to come in and be the backup quarterback to a team with Super Bowl aspirations. Mind you, the guy's never taken a regular season snap.
And run the Joe Burrow offense. We just talked about how taxing it is on
Right.
the quarterback, right?
Right.
They asked him to do that.
Yeah.
Which I understand. He said, I can handle it.
He
I've
did
been
say,
in the
give me
system.
everything first.
I completely get like the offense saying, hey, we'll keep the same
Yeah.
kind of run pass
They tried.
ratio. We'll do it. We'll give you the opportunity. We believe in you. And I understand putting faith in your guy, but you also have to be able to step back and take that objective realism of like, if I'm really trying to win this game, is that the best way to go about it?
Right.
And I think the obvious answer is no, that when you lose that Joe Burrow, that's been the reason you don't run all these easy button things. When you have a backup quarterback who, if we're being generous, is a bottom 2 or 3 quarterback in the league.
He's the 80th highest paid quarterback in the league right now, Jake Browning. 80th.
Right.
If
And
there was 2 on every team, guys, let's do math.
Right.
64.
right.
He's 80th. They spent nothing on this position.
Right. So that's just the tough part, man, is we should just manage expectations for what he's going to be able to do. And I think the Bengals need to as well. Like, they need to be realistic about, hey, we are going to have to build in a lot of support to make sure this can be a functional
Now going
offense.
forward, like, and this is something we touched on State of the Jungle. I think it's important to address the backup quarterback position because it
They have
becomes
to now.
listen. People say backup quarterback isn't a need until it becomes a need, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, Glenn, you being a Buffalo Bills fan, I think that you guys do a good job.
I was
At
just
least,
going to go into that. Yeah.
of adding a backup quarterback just in case your starter does go down. Unfortunately, it's 2023 in the NFL. You have, your quarterback might miss a game or two. He could,
especially if you're in the hunt for the first overall seed.
Yeah,
You got to be able to go 50% in the 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks that your quarterback's
Right.
out.
If the Bengals had a better backup, number one, they get better practice in August,
Yeah.
right? Because we were there. We watched those training camp practices. They were getting poor reps in practice because the balls.
Yeah.
Almost got guys
Alabama
hurt at
lining
times.
up here, I don't think they're going to actually go for it.
Fourth
They've
and
got to
four?
be trying to draw
No,
a
no,
false
he's not
start.
going
Yeah,
for it.
they got to be.
So you get better practice for a month because it looked like to me when I watched week 1 with Burrow back, I'm like, these guys look like they haven't practiced at all. There was stuff that was happening that should not happen to a
Team that's
veteran
been
offense.
practicing for 2 months now. Yeah.
Right. And then number 2, maybe you don't play Burrow. Maybe you don't rush him back right away. Because remember, he couldn't move. He took a lot of hits those first 4 weeks. Unnecessary
It's a bit
wear
of a
and tear.
gauntlet in the opening
Right.
part of the season too, where there
Yes.
was an obvious softer part of the schedule in the middle, right near the bye, that offered a much better kind of runway for him to get into the season. And I feel like, obviously, like there's got to be communication between Burrow and the coaching staff and understanding. Maybe something broke down in between there, but I do think sometimes the desire to win that week, the singular focus on we have to win this game, this is our goal.
right.
Sometimes you have to be able to look at the macro perspective and
Right.
say, hey, sure, these 3 weeks are going to suck. They're going to hurt, but in the long run, it's better for us.
Glenn, I know you wanted to touch on the backup quarterback position because I feel like that's an area the Buffalo Bills have addressed, unlike the Bengals.
Yeah, and you hit it. You know what I mean? The Bills made moves essentially to get somebody to back up Josh Allen. Although Josh Allen is the Iron Man quarterback right now for his style of play, which, everybody's just kind of waiting for,
Right.
trying to predict when Allen
he's
is
gonna get
eventually
hurt.
going to miss time because
Right.
of his style of play. But, they've traded for guys. They've signed guys that, Brandon Allen is Josh Allen's friend, so that they've been bringing guys in. But
It's one thing I respect about the Bills is it seems like they're never really satisfied with any of their talent at one position. You look at them saying, oh, we've got some picks at the D-line, AJ Epineza, Houston, or Ed Oliver from Houston. And then they said, hey, we're going to go make a move to get Von Miller in here. Like you said, the quarterback position being like, hey, if Josh does have to miss a couple games, we don't feel good about where we are right now. Like, hey, we need a good wide receiver. Should we draft one? Should we sign one? Let's just go get Stephon Diggs. Like,
Good adjustment. Did he catch
feel like
that?
there's a lot. Wow.
That was a tremendous adjustment to a ball. The quarterback's throwing it on leverage there. 17's got to see it, read it. Hopefully they get away Latham on here. Let's see if we can watch Latham. It looks like he grabs at the end. He's leaning forward. I don't like him in pass pro at all. So
what
far.
an adjustment. I got to say that there's a lot of young receivers. Jermaine Burton, obviously notwithstanding, but a lot of young receivers on this Alabama team. It's not the same as the hyper efficient Mac Jones Tua offenses that we've seen. It's not that kind of receiver talent. There's a lot of young guys. And though Jermaine Burton is a little bit of a senior guy, Isaiah Bond has really come a long way from where he was last year to be a very reliable option.
Do they call him Agent 17 at all?
Ooh.
He caught it. 17-7, more than likely. Bama on top of Georgia right before halftime.
My main Jermaine.
Malik, your thoughts?
Well, I'm happy.
He's
I'm
very
hopeful.
level-headed.
Hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah.
Remember to never
Give me
get too high,
the
never
Nick
get too
Saban.
low.
Our defense is not playing well. We got to go out there and tackle better. You know, we're not playing up to our level of expectation.
Man, that corner had inside positioning, inside leverage. He did not want to get beat to the inside. Watch the stem at the top here. The move. Oh, got him. And then make a play on the ball.
I know. I always try and keep the fan element out of things and try and be very patient. And even with Joe Burrow, we talked about when he was having his standout season. It took until about the Alabama game where I was like, okay, this guy is for real. And I may need to start looking at Jermaine Burton a little bit closer as he finishes up his Alabama career as a potential NFL weapon and, you know, even the mid rounds. But, you know, that's something that I just had not necessarily considered at this point.
When you can beat a guy where he does not want to get beat, like he's got inside there, he's protecting the inside because he has no help in there, and you still find a way to get him and beat him inside. That's some good.
When you continue to produce at that level and one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult conference in college football, like that really says a lot about you. And I have been blown away by how productive he's been this season. So even though he is a bit of an older prospect, and that's something that might be kind of
coming
dinged
back to
against
this
him.
play. Wondering if he caught it. I can see it slip a little bit.
Yeah.
We saw that go both ways.
Right.
Man, that's a good concentration catch.
Yeah.
Sometimes your hand's going to come off of it because the corner's going to pull you down. Can you bring it back up? Can you lock it in with one hand?
And we talked about, you know, just recently that there's so much youth in the Alabama wide receiver room where Burton has definitely been a stabilizing force as a veteran leadership for a group of a lot of younger guys who are second and third year players.
Glenn, you evaluating these guys coming up next year? Yellow trunks again? Or are you going to wait till they're on the octagon?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, man, his trainer's pretty scary. I don't think I'd take her in a fight either.
Oh, this guy's not
I
winning,
think
right?
that was a man. The trainer.
I didn't get a good look. I didn't see.
He had a ponytail.
It was very long. I appreciate that. Must take a long time to condition.
And you guys ever have a ponytail?
No. I did have the long, like, emo haircut
rat
back
tail?
in the
Do you
day.
remember when they used to have the rat tail back in the day, like a Padawan?
See, yeah, that was only cool for like
I had
2
a
or
rat
3 years
tail.
when like
You had
Anakin
one?
made
I don't
it cool.
remember this.
Yeah.
Second grade, 1992, man. I had a rat tail. Yeah.
We got to hurry up here. 34 seconds left with Georgia.
84 was limping.
Yeah, Bowers to the right. He's going to go to the flats.
84 can't even run a route. He's limping.
He's not going to make it. 13, good job for Alabama. They're going to let this clock start rolling here. Because if you do something here on third down, Bama can call timeout and try and get the ball back. You want to milk this and try and push one more ball down the field, or just run it with like a second left at the time. I don't get a play cock here. Oh, we're still 40 seconds. What are we doing?
So we're about to head out. We appreciate you guys for watching the live stream, live from the First Star Logistics Beach House.
We're doing this tomorrow, right?
I think we might be doing this tomorrow again. If you guys can drop your predictions. What are your predictions for the Bengals Jaguars game? We definitely want to hear from you all. This was fun. Even though it was just the first half, this was fun going live with you guys, chopping it up, watching some UFC, watching some the SEC championship. Hopefully Bama can hang on and win this game, but drop your predictions for the Bengals versus Jaguars game. Again, we'll be having content for the next couple of days live from Melbourne, the First Star Logistics Florida Beach House from you guys. And yeah, we're pretty pumped up for the Jaguars Bengals game, right guys?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm also pumped up for the 49ers Eagles.
That's gonna be a good
Are you
game.
not?
No, that is
Right?
gonna be a good
100%.
game. That is gonna be a very, very good game. I think my early prediction for that game is I think the Niners are I think the Eagles due to lose a
You
game.
see, the
here.
Niners are favored in Philly.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Tell you how good of a team they are.
Y'all want a free player prop bet? I'm looking hard at Brandon Ayuk. I think his line is like close to 60 receiving yards, and anytime he's gone and had a down week, he bounces back immediately the next week. So
And the way they covered Gabe Davis should have had a huge week, so they were a little weak on the number 2 last week against the Bills.
All right, well, guys, that's all the time that we have here. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in live with us from the First Star Logistics Melbourne Beach House. We appreciated you guys going live with us. Make sure you guys do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow First Star Logistics on Twitter or X, and subscribe to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel. Until next time, We'll see you.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.